Thank you for joining GCU Canyon Professional Development. My name is Dr. Rebecca Dyer, and I'm a full professor in the College of Education at GCU. Today, this session is going to cover free and appropriate public education, which is also referred to as FAPE. The objectives for this session are to understand the definition of FAPE, learn the importance of FAPE in student success, and to review the components of FAPE as well. So first we'll go over a broad definition of free and appropriate public education. This means that every child with a disability has the right to receive a special education program and services that are provided by the public school at no cost to the parents. The education and services must be specifically designed to meet the unique needs of the child, helping them to learn and progress in school. FAPE ensures that children with disabilities have the same opportunities as other students who receive a quality education and receive and reach their full potential. What is the importance of FAPE? It plays a vital role in supporting student success, particularly for children with disabilities. And we're going to review some key reasons why free and appropriate public education is so important. First, we have inclusive learning. FAPE ensures that all students, regardless of their abilities or disabilities, have the opportunity to learn together in inclusive classrooms. This inclusive environment fosters understanding, empathy, and cooperation among students, leading to a more accepting and supportive school community. FAPE also supports individualized support. It guarantees that students with disabilities receive personalized educational plans and services tailored to their unique needs. This individualized approach helps address learning challenges and provides necessary accommodations, enabling students to thrive academically, emotionally, and socially. It also provides academic progress through specialized instruction and support. It empowers students with disabilities to make academic progress at their own pace. It also enables educators to identify learning gaps and implement targeted interventions to help students reach their full potential. Self-advocacy. Through the IEP process, students with disabilities and their parents become active participants in their education. They learn how to advocate for their needs, goals, and preferences, which fosters independence and self-confidence, and that will extend beyond the classroom. It also supports social and emotional growth. The free and appropriate public education component contributes to the social and emotional well-being of students with disabilities by promoting a sense of belonging and reducing feelings of isolation. Interaction with peers and participation in various activities enhances social skills and emotional resilience. Future opportunities. Access to a free and appropriate public education sets the foundation for future opportunities. With a solid educational background, students with disabilities are better prepared for higher education, vocational training, and eventual employment, contributing to their long-term success in life. Free and appropriate public education can also reduce disparities. It helps bridge the achievement gap between students with disabilities and their non-disabled peers. By providing equal access to education, FAPE reduces educational disparities and promotes educational equity. When schools prioritize FAPE and create inclusive environments, the overall school climate improves. It fosters a culture of diversity, respect, and support, benefiting all students and educators. Community inclusion is also supported through FAPE. FAPE plays a crucial role in promoting community inclusion for students with disabilities. It helps break down barriers, leading to a greater acceptance and involvement of individuals with disabilities in various community activities and organizations. And finally, it provides legal protections. FAPE is a legal right guaranteed by IDEA, ensuring that students with disabilities receive the education and services they are entitled to. It reinforces the commitment to uphold their rights and protect them from discrimination. So a final review of the importance of free and appropriate public education. It is not only essential for students with disabilities to overcome academic challenges, but FAPE also fosters an inclusive, supportive, and equitable educational environment that benefits the entire school community. By providing the necessary resources and support, FAPE empowers students to achieve their full potential, leading to success in both their academic journey and life beyond school. Let's take a look at the free and appropriate public education eligibility criteria. So first, we know that students must have a disability, which qualifies them for special education services. That disability must also adversely affect their educational performance, and they must require specially designed instruction to benefit from education. These are the components of the free and appropriate public education. It will provide them with an IEP, which is an individualized education program. It also provides them with specially designed instruction. FAPE also includes related services. If a student does require speech therapy, occupational therapy, counseling, and other supports, if the IEP team determines that they need those services, that is included in FAPE as well. It also provides inclusive education in the student's least restricted environment. The IEP is included under the free and appropriate public education, and it's important to remember the role of the parents in IEP development. They have a crucial role in participation and development of the IEP. It also includes collaboration between educators, parents, and other professionals. So it's a team approach. And the IEP document includes goals, objectives, and accommodations to support the student based on their unique needs. FAPE is also directly aligned with LRE, least restrictive environment. So we must include in the IEP the explanation of the student's least restrictive environment and why it's important for the student. We want to consider the benefits of inclusive education for students with disabilities, and that least restrictive environment should foster the student's socialization and peer interaction. IDEA also requires transition services. It's very important to follow FAPE and plan for transition services within the IEP document. And the transition services prepare students for life after high school, including post-secondary education, employment, and independent living. So how do we ensure that FAPE is being implemented? We want to monitor and evaluate the progress of the IEP. So we'll constantly be collecting data on the students' progress on their IEP goals and overall development. We'll also want to make sure to address any discrepancies in the delivery of services. So if the IEP is not being followed exactly as written, we will want to address any of those discrepancies right away. And we want to make sure we're always providing parents with their rights under FAPE. There might be some challenges that arrive when looking to provide FAPE, and we're going to look at some of those challenges, and then we're also going to look for strategies or solutions so that we can make sure we overcome those challenges. So let's look at some examples of possible challenges. One would be inadequate resources. Some schools may struggle to provide sufficient resources. This might be specialized staff, technology, materials, and they may have a hard time coming up with those resources that meet the individual needs of students with disabilities. There may be a lack of training. Teachers and school staff might not receive adequate training or professional development to effectively support students with diverse disabilities and implement appropriate accommodations. Limited budgets. School budgets may not be sufficient to fund the necessary support services, which might lead to potential gaps in the provision of FAPE. Overwhelmed classrooms. There's large class sizes and diverse student needs, and they all need to be met, and that can make it very challenging for teachers to provide personalized attention and support for students with disabilities. Another challenge could be delayed evaluations. There may be delays in conducting evaluations and assessments, and that might lead to a delay in identification of students who are eligible for special education services. And this will lead to impacting their access to timely support. Compliance and documentation. Schools must adhere to complex legal requirements and documentation procedures, leading to administrative burdens that can potentially divert resources from direct student support. So a lot of times teachers have to spend a majority of their time on the paperwork side of special education rather than working with the actual students. Transition services, which we discussed, is to support students for life after high school. Planning and implementing effective transition services for students as they move from one educational level to another or graduate can be challenging, which could then impact their post-school outcomes. Collaboration and communication. Coordinating and communicating between teachers, administrators, parents, and support staff to ensure a cohesive approach to meeting students' needs can be difficult. There are a lot of different stakeholders involved, and it can be challenging to collaborate and communicate with everyone effectively. Parent involvement. Ensuring meaningful parent involvement in the development and implementation of the IEP. There may be obstacles that we face due to parent time constraints or language barriers. Inclusive environment. Creating a truly inclusive classroom and school environment that promote the social and academic integration of students with disabilities with their peers requires ongoing effort and commitment. It's something that needs to be happening on a regular basis, and all of the stakeholders need to be on board to make it effective. Resistance to change. Some educators and stakeholders may resist implementing changes or accommodations, and this will impact the effectiveness of FAPE. So while we know there may be challenges in place, we also want to consider how we can overcome those challenges and some possible solutions. Here we have some solutions that can be explored as we do have some challenges. One would be professional development. We always want to be providing ongoing and comprehensive professional development for teachers and staff. We want to make sure they understand disabilities, how to support students with disabilities with effective instructional strategies and accommodations. The IEP. We want to make sure we're developing comprehensive and very detailed IEPs. The IEP should focus on the student's strengths, needs, and have goals. And we want to make sure we're regularly reviewing the IEP and monitoring progress. Parental involvement. We know that the more actively involved parents are, the better students do in school. So we want to encourage our parents to participate as much as possible and be a large part of the process. Inclusive practices. We want to implement practices that foster an inclusive classroom environment. We want to encourage collaboration, acceptance, and respect among all students. Collaboration and teamwork. We want to have collaboration among all of the stakeholders. We have our special ed teachers, general ed teachers, support staff, and administrators. We want everyone to be on the same page and working together to support students. We have use of technology. We can integrate assistive technology and accessible instructional materials to support not only students with disabilities, but all of our students. Differentiated instruction can be used to meet the needs of diverse learners, including those with and without disabilities. Response to intervention. This is a framework that can be used to identify and address learning difficulties early on and provide targeted interventions for students who are struggling. We want to make sure we're using database decision-making, using all the data that we collect to inform our instructional decisions and monitor student progress. Community partnerships. We can collaborate with community organizations, disability support services, and other stakeholders to support students with disabilities. Teacher advocacy. We want to encourage teachers to advocate for their students and their needs. Our teachers know their students well and they know what they need. We want to make sure they have the appropriate resources and supports to effectively support their students. Funding and resources. We want to advocate for adequate funding and resources so that we can implement FAPE. This can include staff, hiring of staff, training, technology for the classroom, and specialized materials. Culturally responsive practices. We want to incorporate those to ensure that all of our students' needs are met, even those from diverse cultural backgrounds. And then finally, continuous improvement. We want all stakeholders to engage in ongoing self-assessment and continuous improvement efforts so that we can all continue to grow and make sure that we do not have any barriers that hinder us from providing FAPE. So in conclusion, we know that the free and appropriate public education is significantly tied to the success of our students with disabilities. We want to encourage ongoing collaboration between our teachers, parents, and all stakeholders so that we can all make sure we are providing FAPE. And as you have learned some different things about free and appropriate public education from this session, I want you to take a moment to reflect on 3 things that you learned, 2 questions that you still might have, and 1 thing that you enjoyed. We have a reference here with more information on FAPE, and I want to thank you for joining me for this session.